UFO show on the internet. Skyfire news. It's on the internet. Come look for no TV, ma. Sky. Fire. Fire news. This is Skyfire News, the best UFO show on the internet. Skyfire News is on the internet. Skyfire News. Skyfire News. UFO show on the internet. Skyfire News is on the internet. Come look for no TV, ma. Skyfire.
I hate Skyfire News. I hate Chupacabra. I fucking hate Red Panda. And I... What is up? What is up, everybody? Welcome to Skyfire News. Love that song. I love that song. It's so us. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for popping in. Good to see you. It's been a while. We had some graduations for children we had to attend. Wild week, but summer is finally here. We have made it. We have cut through the springtime rain over here in the Northwest, and we're just cruising along. I see some familiar faces in the chat already. Great to see you guys. Freaking great to see you.
Computer real quick, BRB.
Oh, you do your thing. Do your thing. I got some short content to kind of fill up the space here, right? Thanks again for popping in. What are we going to do? We're going to watch a little trailer I put together for some, and hope you guys enjoy it.
Talking to a lot of people over the last few months that think that aliens are angels.
The angels and demons of the Bible are real. They are the extraterrestrial time travelers.
And the government has known that for a long time, possibly going back to the 1930s at least.
Since 1930, they have known that this plane exists.
We don't have souls, but it's just the other way around. The soul has us.
But why won't they tell the American people?
You have spiritual beings that don't understand or really care for the physical world.
A dreadful looking plane in the sky, a half a mile by a half a mile. Built like the universe itself. It's circular and it holds within it 1,500 little wheel-like planes.
Okay, well, there's that. Look, there is a lot of talk about angels and aliens, and so we're going to dive into it. I put this little piece together. It's kind of a spiritual sequel to some other work I've been doing, and I hope you guys like it. It is, I think it's very interesting. Real quick, you know what we got to do. Thank you, Courage First. I really appreciate that. Dude, where's the track though? Here we go.
Nowadays I'm all about the fatty. You better get some. Too busy hating, ain't getting none. Me, I'm all about the fatty. Ain't getting none. Me, I'm all about the fatty. Yeah, they ain't ready for.
Happy Pride, ATF. Right back at you, ATF. Thank you, Courage First. That is awesome. Good way to start the day out. Real quick, let's get through the chat. Hey there, Arden Paranormal first. Arden was kicking it in a Chupacabra Twitter space earlier today. I see a lot of familiar faces from that space in there. I was popping the F off. I didn't record it, so I can't even play it back, but it was cool. It was cool. Good to see you, Stoned Ape. We got Alana in here. Hell yes. Spark, Zap, Zach, Buenos noches. Right back at you. Right back at you. What is it, E2? I don't know. It's been a long time since my Spanish class. But yeah, Derek, good to see you, man. As always, twerking to Skyfire News intro song, as I think we all do. I really think that that's what we're all doing. Peace, Arden Paranormal. Hell yeah, Sassy. That's the vibe we like in here. That's the vibe. What's up, Skinny Bob? Good to see the fam in the mix. Sassy says that video was amazing. I love it. Thank you, Sassy. It's just a trailer. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys something. I put out a trailer a long time ago. Okay, after I produced like the first part of the series, and in it, at the end of it, I put a trailer in for the second part, and it took me like 2 years to put the second part out. It did. I was like way behind. So I didn't drop this trailer without being at least 80% done with this piece. So it's coming out. If not this week, then it'll premiere next week for sure. Thank God we learned from our experiences. But yeah, I'm excited. There's so much to cover, and it's almost all recent. I mean, even Joe Rogan said that in the recent months, he's been talking to a lot of people who believe UFOs are aliens are angels, which is just such a fascinating thing to see enter into the public arena and mainstream. It's so weird. So we'll shelf that for now. You know what it is today. You know what it is. It's the UFO News Recap. We're trying to do that on Mondays. You're right. We're trying to do that on Mondays because a lot can happen over the weekend. Red, we've missed a lot. There's a lot to catch up our audience on, like French fries. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff going on in UFO land. Also, I ordered some new cables that should be getting here tomorrow, so hopefully my camera will work with those. But yeah, I say let's just get into it.
Hell yeah. And my cord has arrived, but my haircut hasn't. So I'm going to go ahead and prefer, as I think you all are going to thank me for this, I'm going to use the avatar today too. All right, so I stand with Red. Okay, I stand with Red in his cord.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Solidarity. That's what this is about.
Okay, so UFO news. Yeah, no, I think originally we were going to do this on Friday, because I know you're saying Monday, but we have done like Friday typically. But there was that Jason Sands space, and there was all those graduations, right? So the Jason Sands space was cool, and we're going to cover a little bit of that too. But there's been a bunch of stuff happening. And
shout out Logan Black.
Who made this?
Okay,
is this
I did. I made this. It's not my best work. When I looked at it, and when it was small, I couldn't tell what I was seeing. So the concept I think is there, but I might have missed the landing. Either way,
no, I like it a lot. What I was going to point out was that UFO I think is like the mothership in Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
It looks identical to it.
Yeah, okay.
It really does. Yeah.
I've been just going ham on that lately.
Oh, I might need. You know what? I might need to ask you for a clip from that movie if you got it.
Awesome. Actually, yeah. Let me know today, actually, because I'm about to go through and screen cap a bunch of the clips I need from the actual movie.
Right. I know we got news to go through, but I just want to say this to you and the audience, and I speak for everybody. We are so fucking excited about this Steven Spielberg piece you're working on. Like, I'm hyped on this. I cannot wait to see it because it's just my wheelhouse. I love film, I love Spielberg, and I love UFOs. So, pins and needles, you got us on.
Yeah, exactly. And you know how I like to do my stuff. I like to do like half UFO history, half whatever non-UFO history the subject is. And so definitely going to dive into a lot of film history, a lot of like film styles and techniques that were happening in the 70s before we even get to the movie. So that's pretty cool.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Alrighty then, let's continue. It's kind of a short, kind of long, but let's see. Only 14 slides, but let's see how long it takes us. Oh yeah.
Okay,
so,
are you
first, Jason Sands was in a Twitter space like we said on Friday. So here's some of the highlights, or just some of the more interesting things I thought that kind of new nuggets of information. And just to recap, Jason Sands was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
He was tasked with like checking to make sure that there were no leaks, kind of thing. So he would go be stationed around, and then he overheard some UFO stuff, and apparently had various levels of engagement with the program. Now he went. His whole story kind of blew up when, firstly, James Fox, the filmmaker, released a picture that had his name on it and like one of the director things. So people are like, "Who the hell is this guy?" Ooh, one second.
I love the.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to fill some dead air. I like the cast of characters and the spaces. Jason Sand's such an interesting guy. You know what I mean? Like, and then he pops into spaces totally outside of the norm of these so-called whistleblowers. It's just a fantastic thing.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone's like, "Who the heck is this Jason Sands guy that James Fox has kind of released the name of?" James Fox, I think, deleted the photo after he realized it. But honestly, conspiracy mind, part of me thinks he did it on purpose. So then after people were trying to figure out who is this guy, a few months later, he eventually came out on a Twitter space hosted by Rob Wood and some other people. UFO Intros and Astral. And it kind of broke UFO Twitter, right? It broke UFO Internet.
It did. I mean, I think that it put UFO Twitter Spaces on the map.
I think so too. I think a lot of people like just kind of thought UFO Twitter Spaces were done before this, but then I think a lot of them are realizing the utility and the potential there. But yeah, so he came out on a Twitter space, broke the internet. I realized, like, and again, I'm not saying to put all your chips into Jason Sands or anyone in this field, right? We're all just people. I do like some of the stuff he says, but you know what I mean? He even himself, I think, in here says that he doesn't have like a UFO to show you, right? But what was I gonna say? I don't know. But yeah, so then he came out and again in a space this past Friday. And this was something interesting he said about his initial coming out, right? So when he first came out too, like one of the things that really showed me that this was kind of a serious situation was like Leslie Keane was in the audience for this like random unrecorded Twitter space to listen to this dude. The space also like blew up the second he got in there. This is the original space like a month and a half ago.
That was so strange to see, right? Because if he was just a nobody, you wouldn't see people like Leslie Keane pop in, and everyone else and their mom popped in too. Like it was blowing up because of the people who were coming in. Like, you know what I mean? It was because these bigger names who were being followed by a lot of people were in there that everyone else flooded in as well. So like it really gave validity to Jason's what he was saying.
Yeah, and then after, maybe I should have pulled some of these clips, but we could just talk about it. After he came out, there was kind of like mixed reviews where like it wasn't like a David Grusch situation where like the second David Grusch comes out, like Mellon, Lou Elizondo, Gary Nolan are all doing like big public support kind of like messaging, you know what I mean? And like there's not this like really unified push around Jason Sands. And you heard some of that kind of from the upper tiers of the disclosure movement. I think Danny Sheehan said he wasn't going to control him or he wasn't going to represent him because he's not controllable. Eric Davis, that was the one. Eric Davis called him like a liar and like trash talked him.
Really? Jesus, Eric Davis, you comment
on a Facebook comment, of course.
Oh my God, these old guys in their Facebook comments, man.
Yeah. So okay, now back to this last Friday. Here's Jason Sands kind of talking about some of the. Oh, sorry, I'm all over the place right now. But one other thing I wanted to bring up too is James Fox in the aftermath of the initial space said something cryptic like, "If I do or say the wrong thing at the wrong time, I risk being excommunicated from the circle," right? And it was just kind of a really weird statement. I probably should have pulled these. Maybe we'll do a Jason Sands full episode and we could like go through all this stuff, like have it flowing. But so that was really interesting, right? To hear James Fox, beloved filmmaker, kind of speak out against this like cabal within ufology, right? Kind of weird. But here's Jason Sands speaking about what happened like behind the scenes when that all went down.
One of the 40 whistleblowers that David Grusch mentions.
I thought I was, but after David got pissed at me for coming out publicly, now I'm just one of 80. So I don't know what to think.
Now.
Why is David Grusch annoyed that you actually came out publicly when he came out publicly?
David and the rest of the guys were I guess, upset with me was because I didn't realize that they had all these plans, okay? And I think I shattered some of that in their mind, and that for some reason I was either going rogue or hadn't thought things through and all this other stuff. And maybe they're right. Maybe I didn't think it fully through, and it did do some kind of damage to their plan, but I don't think it did, actually. I think it may be actually coming around to help them, because they seem to be coming out on media spaces themselves now.
I think that was a little dig at Sheehan there, because since Sheehan has done this, he has been in a few Twitter spaces.
Very true. Very true.
And stuff like that. So they know who I am. Everybody is talked to me. The only thing I can't produce for them is the same thing I can't produce for Congress, a UFO. I don't have one strapped to my back. Sorry, guys, I can't do that. Can I drag the guy out of the desert from my past in the 1990s? Hell no. I can't do that for you either, dudes.
Jason, what do you think? What's the big takeaway from his recent Twitter Spaces with Logan? Between that and his first Twitter Spaces with.
Okay. I think it's sad. I think he expected to get a little more support. You know what I mean? And we kind of covered this when we talked about Sands before. A lot of the times before he went public in this Twitter space, he went on a goof on stream of all streams when Grusch had his hearing, and it was like defending Grusch under a different name. So he has kind of this history of like publicly defending Grusch, you know what I mean? So I feel like he expected maybe some kind of support that he didn't get. And I don't know the context within which he came to the conclusion that Grusch was pissed. You know what I mean? Maybe it was just a feeling, or maybe Grusch was pissed. But that was kind of what was shocking to me about this exchange, because we kind of known Sheehan and Eric Davis were kind of throwing shade, and I think Rick Doty too. But I didn't expect Grusch to be pissed. Do you think Grusch was pissed? Do you think that is a misunderstanding from Jason Sands, or you think that Grusch was pissed?
No, I think we all need to come to terms with the fact that there's an official UAP disclosure rollout plan, and that Jason Sands went against it, and that going against it does upset and anger all the people involved. And I think it's because of the sacrifices they've had to make, or they believe they've had to make, and what they're poised to get if it goes their way. And so, it's very corporate. I feel very privatized, kind of like business, like him coming out kind of messes up their stocks. You know what I mean? It messes up the potency of their rollout. And so, yeah, I think I get the vibe that they were pissed. And then what Sheehan said too about it, and this is a great question, by the way, that you gave him. I mean, his answer was so interesting, right? That like Jason Sands doesn't take advice. He's not he doesn't follow order. Yeah, he's rogue, man. I love that.
Yeah, so that was really interesting. Let me see. Was there anything else on this one that I thought was interesting? Yeah, I mean, it makes sense too, right? Well, they would have it. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. It's not just that like he hurt their plans, but also when in that space that we have on Skyfire too, he's talking about how like he needed support too, right? And I'm telling you, this like they don't care what level this is. Like at any point you could be on the outs, and I don't think Jason was on the outs like we've seen other whistleblowers. Like I would consider Jeremy McGowan honestly a whistleblower to the same degree as all these people. You know what I mean? I definitely more Sands than Grusch. You know what I mean? Had an encounter while in the military in the 90s. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's kind of a bummer he didn't get the support. And although I will say, I feel like he's kind of spurring on some like good energy around him from like a more of a grassroots thing of like people wanting to like support this guy and like you know what I mean, facilitate Twitter to be, for better or worse, like a place where disclosure can happen, right? It doesn't have to be on News Nation or weaponized. You know what I mean? It could be with the people taking questions. Like
it should be. I think that's your good point. It should be. It should be like that.
And shouts out UFO Shane, the other reporter there, because that's something Shane's all about that too. He's like, oh, well, at least you're here taking questions, man. I think you're saying crazy stuff, but I mean, a lot of other people, like, is Grusch okay? We haven't even heard from Grusch in like half a year. But all right, the next clip is here. Recently, Chris Bledsoe and Ryan Bledsoe have said that Tom DeLonge told him we're dealing with shape-shifting reptilians, and so has John Ramirez. That's in his presentation.
What are your thoughts on the shape-shifting reptilians? Do you think that's one of the things we're dealing with? And then what are your thoughts on Chris Bledsoe and the lady, that whole sub section of ufology? Thank you.
Okay. About the reptilians, it's a possibility. I've heard that, read about it. I did not experience a reptilian in my tenure of my life, other than maybe childhood with more nightmarish. But to me, from what I've read, there seems to be different kinds of reptilian or reptoid looking humanoids that are out there. Some of them are very good, and there seems to be a couple of them though that are absolutely horrible and look at us like a food source kind of thing. And I did hear about.
Hey, Red, real quick, I'll be right back in 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. I'll just tell the chat this. I've been saying this, guys. Reptilians that eat people. It's not fun. It's not like exciting. Well, in a way, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, we're just hearing it all over the place that this is a thing. We heard Tom DeLonge, as I brought up there. Tom DeLonge told Bledsoe that. We have John Ramirez speaking about it. It was one of the many options presented in the crypto terrestrial paper that went viral recently. Yeah, Jason Sands also, in his official capacity, he heard about this stuff.
Reptilians in my missions. I hate to say it, but yeah, they do exist. So in my mind, when I talk about the ones that are evil-minded, I call them serpents. And the ones that are actual reptilians that are may not have any relationship to each other, I call them reptilians. And that's my only, as far as I go with that, is just that, yeah, there seems to be a form of reptoid out there that is completely malign and hates our guts.
Hates our guts, guys. And Lil Pop Tart says, maybe we should become vegetarians then. Honestly, I'm not saying become a vegetarian, but I definitely, since coming into UFO stuff, definitely recognize how much meat I eat. And I feel like, can humans cry about abductions and if we get eaten by reptilians, if we eat a bunch of animals? You know what I mean? We probably eat like 20 to 30 animals a week if you're not a vegetarian. So, you know, not saying you have to be. Like I said, I still eat meat, but I just recognize my place in the food chain, as Lou Elizondo would say too.
I'm back.
Cool. So yeah, Jason Sands in the space said, yeah, there's some reptilians that eat us, right?
Real bummer, if you ask me.
Yeah, it is what it is, though, right? Circle of life. For most of human civilization, you're always like, you could have died at Loki any minute, right? Have your village raided, get eaten by an animal or something, like get some weird disease, and before you know what I mean? So
that's a good point. How many of our ancestors were taken up by saber-toothed tigers? You know what I mean?
Exactly. All right, let's see what's next.
I've been talking.
Okay, so that was it for the Jason Sands little segment. Like I said, we have the full thing, or most of it, on our YouTube channel. Go watch it. Then, who was it? Action Bronson was on Joe Rogan. And of course, as Tupa said in the beginning, I think he showed you a trailer for his video. This this angel conversation has having a super moment. And Tupa, you were one of the pioneers of this conversation, I feel like, you and Taylor.
Yeah. You take big risks, and sometimes you get big rewards. Like now I can say I told you so about the idea being popular, you know what I mean? But yeah, it was me and Taylor. And at first I was laughing at Taylor. Then I thought to myself, that's actually the road less traveled, and that might be the harder thing to try to conceptualize. So I just put some time in it, and the more I put in, the more people kept talking about it. And so yeah, it's having its moment, even with like Burleson, right? And like Burchett even. Like, and did Luna mention this too? Did she allude to this?
She alluded to angels, and then angels were featured in that paper that went viral. You know what I mean? So Tupo is ahead of the game. You were also lambasted for this, I remember too.
Big time, all the time, every time.
A lot of people over the last few months, which is maybe not a good sign for the direction my life's going. But I've been talking to a lot of people over the last few months that think that aliens are angels and devils. And that's like when you're hearing about like all those stories in the Bible about fallen angels and devils, like these people think that they were referring to aliens.
that fell from the sky.
No,
we're just gonna pause a little bit because Joe's pretty on it when it comes to the copyright. But so who are these people he's talking to?
Okay, definitely Gary Nolan and definitely Tucker Carlson. Those two for sure. And then he just had on a colleague of Gary Nolan's. I always forget his name, and I don't want to call him by the wrong one. But this guy came on, and he's the author of the
theory guy.
Yes, and he referenced Gary Nolan, and he asked Joe, have you talked to him? He said, yeah, I've been talking to him. So guaranteed it's Tucker and Gary. And I think outside of that,
Pasolka, maybe throw her in there. She was just on kind of.
Good call. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's say the top three, the big three, and if he's still in contact with Jacques Vallée at all, he might have called and tried to get a better, answer or whatever. But I think, yeah, at least those three. They're the gateway drug to angelic aliens.
This is what happens in a world where Greer is discredited. LOL.
Damn. Hey, shout out to all the Greer fans out there. That guy, he's putting in work.
It's just the term, the way they're phrasing it is like fallen angel, meaning like Satan, and that there's good angels and bad angels. There's demons and angels. What these people believe, and I don't necessarily agree with it, nor do I even understand it enough that I can argue against it, but they believe that all these stories are really referencing a spiritual force that's always here all the time and sometimes exists in the physical form. And it might be existing as these things that we keep looking for, like aliens and UFOs. And it might be doing that maybe even to comfort us, or maybe to be more plausible, or maybe to hide the true nature of what they are. So
some interesting thoughts, right? Yeah, we hear this from Vallée, his classic book cover. This is, I think, really represented in the Michael Masters paper. Just pausing it for copy.
Oh yeah, true.
It will present.
Oh no, let the clip play. Let it ride.
Present as if it's from another planet. But really what it is some sort of interdimensional spiritual being that may or may not be evil. It might be good, it might be evil, and there might be a bunch of different kinds out there in the world. But that these stories from like the ancient Hindu texts, and Billy Carson talks a lot about that, and a bunch of other people talk about these different stories from these ancient texts that have people either interacting with sky people or someone coming from the sky and interacting with them. And they think that a lot of these things might be talking about the same thing.
Again, nothing really like profound, I would say, but it just is interesting that this angel talk, right? This Christian denominational outlook on it is, I think, becoming more and more, and it kind of makes sense we're in America, but we're not hearing congressmen come out of briefings and be like, they're jinn or they're fairies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. And like Rogan here, like you can tell that he's put a lot of thought into it. You can tell that he's not regurgitating, but he's reiterating things that he's heard. And I can tell when I watch him, it looks to me like he's not battling with it, but he's trying to pin it down to something, right? He's trying to figure out exactly what it is. And I just want to, this is a shameless plug here. I just want to reiterate, my documentary isn't going to be a compilation of clips about people pontificating about aliens or angels. It's not going to be a montage of this question. A large part of it is the answer. So I go into like what these things are when they talk about spiritual beings, according to these voices, the Nolans, the Diana Pasolkas, the Valets, according to their own belief system. So I go into those definitions, and I think that it's really helpful for the community to like open up to different ideas about what these things are, because the truth is we probably just don't know exactly what they are. And when we find out, a lot of us are probably going to be shocked. Even me, right? It's probably not exactly what I think, but so it's good to be on our toes, keep our legs.
How long is that, by the way?
It's about 45 minutes.
Nice, very cool. What I was going to say too is, like we talked about the whole like narrative control thing, right? And I think I've said this point before here. Just like imagine how psyop Joe Rogan is if he's not just a full-on asset, right? Think about how many people are constantly trying to like influence him on their side of things, and you know what I mean.
Dude, so is Darcy Weir reaching out to Red Band? Like,
yeah, I think he's wrestling with that because I don't know. So I feel like he doesn't he likes the group, but I feel like he knows there's something up with the group, the disclosure group, because he said multiple times, like, some of the things he said is like, is David Grusch being used as a useful idiot? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like,
no, yeah. And do you remember how kind of critical and suspicious he was of not only Tom DeLonge, but also of Robert Bigelow? Like, you know, you could tell he was like fucking, I'm not buying this shit, dude. Like Robert Bigelow.
Yeah, right. That was kind of awkward, dude, because he's like so esteemed in our community. Just to see him kind of get wrecked on Rogan.
Yeah, dude. I will say this: after that interview, I've noticed him become a lot more open-minded about this stuff, which is great. Like when I say open-minded, I mean he's not even doing body language that makes it look like he's rebutting or that he's disagreeing. Before it was pretty obvious, but even now, like with the Terrence Howard interview, he was like, "All right, cool. I wish I knew more that I could like ask you questions about this stuff about, but I'll just let you go." It's like, okay, sick, sick. But yeah, he's wrestling. He's wrestling with it.
You know what's interesting too is Elizondo hasn't been on Rogan. Do you think he's going to go on for the book?
I hope so. I really hope so. Zondo, if you're out there, if you're listening, I really hope you are on the Joe Rogan Experience to push your book. I would love to see that because we're probably, if he's on the show, you imagine the kinds of stuff he's going to say.
Oh man,
dude,
when was the last time we even heard from him, like in a long form interview or like a speech or anything? Right, dude. Has it been like a year and a half, 2 years?
The longest thing has been like his tweets that he's relayed to Matt Ford to have Matt Ford be his mouthpiece.
Oh, and by the way, Little Pop Tart says this: Greer versus Elizondo needs to happen. Let's kind of like an episode we're building for sure. Probably not like in the next few weeks, but just kind of guess all the back and forth. When was the first terrorist accusation thrown? When was this thrown?
Right.
I feel like people need to understand like what that divide is all about.
The beef.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the next Rogan clip and kind of lead into our next thing.
Aliens might be living among us disguised as humans or in a base inside the moon, according to a new Harvard study. Yo, when there's Harvard studies is saying there might be a base inside the moon. How wild are things right now?
Oh my God.
This is so crazy.
But none of this is it's not really that like shocking.
Right. It's not that shocking.
Once you have knowledge of the other realm, nothing's impossible.
No,
nothing in this life is impossible.
Don't you feel like reality's gotten more esoteric? I feel like Joe Rogan has actually played a big part in that. Or just like Terrence, you know what I mean? Terrence Howard is all deep on this Action Bronson. Like I feel like everyone's like kind of at least a little bit into this stuff these days.
Yeah, and like he said, you know, once you have knowledge of the other realm, anything's possible. Like everyone's getting a little more woo. I think COVID had a lot to do with that.
Yeah. A lot of people got woke during COVID when they had all that time to research and do stuff.
Impossible or fucking shocking anymore.
Well, it's still shocking.
It's shocking
exciting,
slightly,
but like
but
space is insane. This is way less insane than what we know about space.
I mean, space and water. The deep sea is something that's fucking as crazy as this to me.
As crazy and undiscovered.
It's fucking.
So yeah, USO stuff. I'm gonna put on a little backing track because Joe Rogan has been getting us lately.
Rogan, I love Action Bronson. I love how open-minded he is on this stuff. Very cool.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, he's the guy. Didn't he have a whole TV show about watching ancient aliens? Right.
Oh my God, you're right. They would just get high on a couch and watch ancient aliens on a green screen and be like, "What?"
Revolutionary.
It was.
Fucking nuts. There is an end. It stops, but does it really?
I think it does. But the thing is, like, they don't know what the fuck is down there. They're always finding a bunch of new cool fish.
That Mariana Trench.
Let me see what it says. The researchers have investigated so-called cryptoterrestrials. These could be disguising themselves as humans to fit in, may come from Earth's future, or might have descended from intelligent dinosaurs. This guy's from Harvard.
Men in Black.
This guy got all the mushrooms. They're probably doing a Harvard mushroom study, and this dude just stole the.
So yeah, this is the paper that we covered super in depth on what, Thursday?
Yep.
So go watch that if you want like the super in depth one. But that was from friend of the show, Michael Masters.
Ooh, and Michael Masters he's a cool operator, man. I like that guy.
I like
and
him too.
our deep dive into the Harvard paper was great. I had a blast doing that, and I've looked. I haven't seen any other video come even close to the depth that we explored that piece in. So we should get that video over to Michael Masters, dude.
It was definitely the longest slide thing we've ever done. But yeah, so that paper went super viral, right? It was kind of crazy, and I think in a good way. I did pose this question during our last stream about this on Thursday when we talked about the paper. Like, what does Michael Masters think about the coverage of it? Fortunately, Michael Masters has done some interviews since then, so we learned some things. First, so now we're just going to go right into that paper, just some news about it. And like I said, if you want the full details on it, go watch our review of it. But this was, you know what I mean? It's really interesting what things from our community like really break out into the mainstream, right? Like some things you're like, oh, this is totally gonna, you know what I mean? And those people don't care. And then like some like Las Vegas alien will go crazy, right? Or the Miami Mall alien or something like that.
Crazy. These kind of unfounded rumors that are so sensational. I think maybe it fits the what people think of the phenomenon in their mind, so they see it. But here's Michael Masters, dude. This guy's a great speaker.
Yeah, and on the left, it's Vinny from Disclosure Team. Shouts out, friend of the show. I've been on a few times, and yeah,
dude,
on the
he's
right,
looking kind of tough with this tattoo bleached hair combo.
I like it.
Vinny, yeah,
he's rocking it.
I went to put the link in the description, and I think I couldn't find the paper. Now, I'll leave that to you to kind of talk about.
Yeah, so this has been a wild ride for a lot of people. It would seem. I can't speak publicly about that. I am hopeful. At first I was like, oh good, he just pulled it to fix change R to is, so that whoever was super obsessed about that wasn't. And then right before I was going on a TV show around 4 o'clock Mountain Time, so this is all pretty recent, actually. I had a conversation with the first author, and there's more going on. I can't really talk about it publicly right now, but I am hopeful.
What they're talking about here is the paper was originally published on ResearchGate, which is like a social media platform for academic papers. Nimbit says, wasn't Masters all about the future human hypothesis? Curious he's doing this larger overview. Yes, he wrote a book in 2018 or 2019 all about the extratemporal, that there might be us from the future. And I think it shows pretty good like academic rigor, because he doesn't really include that in this current paper, but he still acknowledges it and doesn't say like I'm done with it or anything. But it's just like this paper that just came out was kind of more for the crypto terrestrial thing. But let's listen more. Yeah, so he's speaking about how the paper was taken down off ResearchGate,
and I am pretty confident that it will be back, and it should be. You know, we stand behind our work. We absolutely do. Like we're all three of us are very proud of this paper. We worked really hard on it. Like you said, it really does bring in a holistic view of this idea and a lot of other things regarding the UFO phenomenon that a lot of times doesn't get considered. So we are very proud of the paper, hopeful that it will return soon, as are a lot of other folks who are really showing genuine interest in this. But unfortunately, I can't speak publicly about the circumstances surrounding that currently.
No, I appreciate it.
So yeah, pretty cool. And honestly, like that paper was actually pretty cool. Like I'm still a UFO nerd, UFO believer, and a lot of that stuff, honestly, I think is on the table. Like even down to the fairy, down to the angel, right? So I think having all those and like starting to introduce academia to this like dictionary of potential explanations for what we're dealing with, like it has to happen, right? Like, are we just gonna not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm glad that people are kind of looking beyond just like there's a blip on the radar. So let's see. Oh, then here was my question. As I said, I was really curious, like, what did he think of the framing? Because as I said in our coverage of this paper, the paper is like a bunch of different things. Like, let's just say 40 different theories, hypotheses, just kind of all like strung together, just kind of going from one to the other, just kind of explaining what it is and why it's a possibility for the crypto terrestrial thing. And the whole "they walk among us" was just like one throwaway line from John Ramirez. So I was just curious, like, me personally, I think I would have been conflicted, right? Because like I feel like the spirit of the paper wasn't really conveyed in a lot of the viral headlines. I just said aliens walk among us, but I feel like that clearly helped it go viral, right? That framing, right? That phrasing. What about you, Chupa? How would you feel if you wrote that paper and then you saw it going viral, framed that way?
You know, I put a lot of thought into this. I agree with you on this one.
Hell yeah. All right.
And Red Panda asks a good question here. He's curious about what you think about the way the paper was framed in some of the viral news stories. It seemed like in some they focused on the John Ramirez part of the paper, rather than kind of what it was kind of intending originally.
Yeah, which is fine. I noticed that too, and I appreciate the question, and am a fan of said Red Panda and the work that he does. Yeah, it was really interesting to me. One of the first ones was an IFL Science article that was kind of a hit piece, kind of a hack job. Just lots of qualifiers that you would not find in a standard journalistic story where the reporter had integrity, for lack of a better word. You need to present the information, let people make up their own minds. We don't do this. We haven't done this in the States. It's better in the UK because you have rules that keep people from doing this. But they were framing the conversation with a very strict narrative that was guiding people's thoughts toward, well, obviously this is crazy, which I don't appreciate. And that was one of the first ones. Fortunately, a number of others came in. And as the Honorable Red Panda points out, a lot of them did take it seriously and did better journalism. A lot of them did bring in things about Congress, about Grusch, about John Ramirez, which I kind of like because it indicates.
Yeah, I agree. The headlines themselves were kind of like skimpy, not skimpy, but just, I mean, we get it too with Skyfire News, right? You gotta have you can't have a super long run-on sentence headline, right? It's kind of got to be short and sweet. But a lot of the articles did kind of go into a little more depth and obviously like link the paper and stuff like that. So it's really interesting to hear from the author of the viral paper, right? In a semi Skyfire News exclusive via Vinny from Disclosure Team. Shouts out.
Oh, Red. We're not going to breeze over the Honorable Red Panda Koala, dude. That's love right there. I love that shit.
It's like the main reason I put it in. No, I'm just kidding. That was very cool. Michael Masters, shouts out. I almost met him with American Alchemy, but I was like busy doing shit.
Damn, that would have been sick.
I know. I keep on doing that, but it would have been cool.
Research. And whether these are people who had already had an interest in UAPs, most of them I don't think did. I talked to one guy from the Daily Mail. He did a separate interview kind of about this, but kind of for something else he's working on, where he went to the SU conference. He was at Seoul. He was at the Seoul Foundation conference earlier this year. So there are journalists working in the space with a good base of information that allows them to write something more objective and to bring in those resources that a lot of people covering this for the first time wouldn't have access to. So I actually didn't mind that. I also respect John Ramirez. I like him as a person and for what he's doing. So yeah, I didn't mind that at all. Some of the other ones, yeah, it was all over the place. It was kind of crazy. But again, any conversation that's being had around this topic, not just crypto terrestrial, but UFO as a whole is positive in my opinion. So yeah, and it's good to have that variation. If people just kept recycling that IFL piece, it would have been horrible. But having the different views about this one thing and people bringing in different perspectives, I think actually made it more interesting on the whole. So I was kind of happy to see that there was definitely a sliding scale of like good, bad, just as far as journalism.
So yeah, honestly, bro, I've never seen a UFO paper go anywhere nearly as viral as this one, and I think I'm glad it went to Michael Masters because he's a solid dude in this field. And I'm not just saying that because he gave me some nice accolades there. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm the one who's kind of like honing in on this a lot. I'm just like so shocked at how viral this paper went. I'm like, what does it mean? Like, but I think overall for the community, it's a W.
I agree. You know, you asked me something when this article came out and we did a piece on it. You said, now that you know that it wasn't produced by Harvard, just with a majority Harvard affiliated authors were in it, do you think that it was misleading? And I was like, no, it's all good. We needed it. I thought about that 2 seconds after the show, and I'm like, yeah, it was fucking for sure marketing. It was not accurate at all. You know what I mean? But it was done in a way to get maximum viral, exposure from it, and I think that it worked. I think that, like, the Harvard study says aliens are on Earth, on the moon. Like, everyone and their mom is clicking that because of the way that was
Joe
phrased.
Rogan's clicking on it live on his show.
And Jamie had to correct him. Jamie's like, no, it looks like it's just not Harvard. Fucking wet blanket Jamie sometimes, bro.
Shouts out to Michael Masters. That's very cool. Honestly, I wouldn't mind him going on. Like, I think he's a good representative for this field. I guess I'll just leave it there.
No, Michael Masters, when he was on Jesse Michael's show, he presented a very cohesive argument for aliens being future humans, and I think that's like that's at least an episode to dive into that. So I would love to get him on board.
We totally could probably get him on and just go through we could have him on just to go through the time thing and like get like how we did for Patrick Jackson, just get all the materials ahead of time and have it, like, really fleshed out.
I'd love that because there's so many cases. Okay, we'll go into this later. There's so many cases where like it's like, what is that the answer here? Because it looks like it is. All right, cool. All
right, about halfway through. I think that's a little short towards the end, but let's see what's next.
I want to talk to you about.
Oh yeah, Donnie went to Logan Paul. So Donald Trump, we've done an episode about him and UFOs. Logan Paul. Logan Paul's a low-key UFO nerd, bro. He's had, like, going back years now, probably like 3 or 4 years at least, steady flow of like different UFO people on his podcast. Honestly, kind of seems pretty well informed on the matter compared to like the average person. There was that whole thing, remember, when he like snuck in and tried to get that footage or whatever that never went anywhere. I think, didn't Keem explain it to us one time what happened there? Do you remember, Tupa?
Well, I think he brought in like a hidden camera on his shirt. And then he asked just to see the video because he was potentially going to buy it for, I don't know, $1 million or something. And then he recorded it off his shirt and then said that the video it wasn't that convincing. Like, if it was that good, he would have released it. But it just kind of seems like a legal issue for no reason. I think that's what was hinted at. And I think that there's probably truth to that. I mean, a recording from a lapel cam, get out of here, dude. Like, but you know who did say that Logan Paul has seen the video, as he mentioned it, was that Game Tech.
Oh, Game Tech saw the Logan Paul video? You're muted.
He just stated that Logan Paul has seen a real video of a UFO. That was just one of the additions he added to a conversation. I was like, oh shit.
Yo, what if Logan Paul, what if it was the MH370 video and Logan Paul was the reason it resurfaced? That'd be pretty funny.
What a twist.
So yeah, Logan Paul and Donald Trump this past week. Also, shouts out Logan Paul for securing that interview. That's pretty sick. Of course, UFOs came up, so let's listen.
UFOs, UAPs. I know the disclosure we've seen in Congress recently. It's confusing and upsetting a lot of Americans because there's something happening. There are unidentified aerial phenomena in the sky. We don't know what they are. Do you?
So it's such a question I do get a lot, and it's such an interesting question. I've met with pilots that look just like you, actually. Okay, they have more of a crew cut. Okay, they look like him, and they look like you. Some of them look like you,
a little fatter.
But these are perfect people, and they're not crazy. Conspiratorial. They're not crazy, and they tell me stories that they've seen things that you wouldn't believe. These are not people that you would say, "Gee, that's okay."
President of the United States.
But
I said,
who is it? That's
President of the United States during the UFO question.
I bet you know who's calling him. I bet it's Lou. I bet who's calling him. Right.
I just got this message.
Yeah. If you're Dakota Blue.
Oh, Darth McButtfart says Logan Paul scammed his audience with that crypto zoo nonsense. I did forget about that.
Let's not forget. Never forget. CoffeeZilla. Shout out to CoffeeZilla. Thank you for the work you're doing.
Joe Biden wanting to do an interview. So I met with pilots like beautiful Tom Cruise, but taller.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Handsome, perfect people. Sir, there was something there that was round in form and going like 4 times faster than my super jet fighter plane.
Interesting, very descriptive of the pilots, but that alone, 4 times faster than my super jet fighter plane. It's pretty fast, pretty wild.
That's hella fast. A little too fast, if you ask me. That's great, though. That's another great statement, man. We are getting momentum in the UFO, UAP conversation right now.
Well,
like this is.
Listen where it goes, though.
And I look at these guys, and they really mean it.
Yeah.
And am I a believer? No, I can't say I am. But I have met with people that are serious people that say there's some really strange things that they see flying around out there.
So let's not forget, just a week ago, Ross Coulthart was like, Trump's afraid to disclose because they're going to murder him. What do you think about that after watching this?
I mean, he is being vague, right? He's being vague. And so, maybe the specifics still have him a little spooked, but, talking to these guys, he feels a little secure in here. That's cool.
Trump
is that a painting of Trump?
I was literally, I was like, as soon as Tuba's done with this little riff, I'm about to bring up, how sick is that painting in the back, though?
It's fucking, I like it a lot, dude. It's like,
you need to make a Tuba Cabra version or something like that.
Yeah, he's like wearing a tennis sweatshirt. You know what I mean?
The sweaters go so hard. All right. If you could rock them, if you could pull them off, but if you can't, they don't. But all right, let's continue. This was an interesting question raised on the same interview.
Is there a chance that one of these orgs is potentially hiding information from you about aliens?
I guess so. It's you have the deep state, and you do have a deep state, and certainly they could. But I don't think on this subject. I was interested in it because I've been asked so many times, and I talked to people that have said that they've, it was a sighting, and it's very believable. It's very possible that there is something. And why wouldn't there be? You take a look at the universe and you see all of the different planets, and you see this, look, here we are on one relatively small planet. Why wouldn't there be on a planet that's, 400 times the size? Why wouldn't there be somebody? So yeah,
you see Logan Paul shaking his head the whole time, just like freaking out. I think Logan Paul's a little bit of a doomer. His responses are weird. So maybe the High Machad stuff, maybe Ross Coulthart is right, because since 2017, there's been a few of these people. I remember, who was that one? It was during the Trump administration. I forget his name, but he was a high-ranking guy. But a lot of them, they'll be saying stuff like, it can outperform our jets. It can outperform our enemies' jets. We know it's not our enemies. We know it's not ours. It could outmaneuver all this stuff. But we're not saying it's aliens. There's always this like weird kind of like dichotomy of statements. And he's kind of doing it there too, right? Like, I believe these people. Oh, shouts out Lana.
All right, Alana.
Thank you, Alana.
2-month membership. Hell yeah, girl. Let's go. Let's go. You know what time it is.
Nowadays I'm all about the fetty. You better get some. Too busy hating, ain't getting none. Me, I'm all about the fetty. They getting none. Me, I'm all about the fetty. Yeah, they ain't ready for.
Real talk. The memberships are encouraging to see. They keep us going. You guys are awesome. You know what I mean? The fact that you guys want to be members, it means everything to us. This shit is dope. And don't forget to like and subscribe. If you guys are watching this over on Twitter, pop over here. Give us a follow. Oh, shit. We got one good turn deserves another. Are you kidding me? Let's go.
So nowadays I'm all about the fetty. You better get some. Too busy hating, ain't getting none. Me, I'm all about the fetty. They getting none. Me, I'm all about the fetty. Yeah, they ain't ready for.
You think the song? You think it's over? It's just started, baby.
So nowadays I'm all about the fetty. You better get some. Too busy hating, ain't getting none. Me, I'm all about the fetty. They getting none. Me, I'm all about the fetty. Yeah, they ain't ready.
I hate Skyfire News. I hate Chupacabra. I fucking hate Red Panda, and I hate Heather. Like, I genuinely hate them.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you, Alana. Thank you, Darth. Much appreciated, guys. Glad you guys are here.
But yeah, this weird dichotomy of statements where I talked to pilots, the most handsomest, beautifulest pilots there were, and they told me that they saw these things that were doing crazy things, and they're super believable and they believe it and they're trustworthy. But I just don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. Interesting.
He goes. I think it's possible. I think it's actually really possible. He's got an open mind, but he is skirting the lines, man, for sure.
Who's he more afraid of? The gatekeepers, the Roscoe-Clark gatekeepers, or the High-Mashed Galactic Federation?
Ooh, gatekeepers. He's afraid of John Podesta and whatever the hell they're doing over there.
Well, and remember too, he did say the JFK thing. His stance on the JFK thing and the UFO thing are the same, according to Tucker. That if you knew what I knew, you wouldn't release it either. And honestly, there's a lot more talk every day. I feel like of those things being connected, and I feel like if there's any political president, you know what I mean, in recent times, who it's like, oh, dude, the deep state wants to get rid of this guy. It's Trump. So maybe he knows not to rattle too many. What's the phrase? Cages, buttons. I don't know. Before he gets elected or something, right? I mean, you'd have to think, right? I don't know.
No, I mean, it's an election year. He's gonna play it safe until he doesn't have to. I think that's exactly what's gonna happen.
That was cool, and it's cool to just see it. It's just presidential candidate, one of the biggest YouTubers talking about just this topic. We really are spoiled. Uh-oh. Where we at? Boom.
So nowadays I'm all about the fatty. You better get some. Too busy hating, ain't getting none. Me, I'm all about the fatty. Ain't getting none. Me, I'm all about the fatty. Yeah, they ain't ready for.
The comment section. Trump is definitely gatekeeping. He could have declassified JFK, 9/11, UAP. He didn't. He tried to overthrow Venezuela as well. And honestly, to be fair, dude, I think some good stuff came out definitely during Trump. I don't know how much of that was necessarily as a result of Trump, but he definitely, I mean, he could have, but his whole thing is if you knew what I knew, but isn't that what they all say? So if we're keeping it real, if we're keeping it 100, he could have done more. I think we could all agree there.
That's fair. But I mean, yeah, I'd love to dive into that on another show, like why he's keeping the secrets, because shit, man, according to Tucker and Judge, I always forget his name. But yeah, what they said was very interesting, very enlightening on why Trump didn't declassify.
Let's run the clip actually, because I could pull that up real quick because I do love that clip.
It's so good. It's so good. Just like the clip. Guys, we're playing All About the Fetty by the Chill Crew, John Bells, from Portland, Oregon. I made that video. I love it. I loved it. It was a music video for a local artist who's I think one of the most talented guys in Portland. So check him out. Look him up if you want to. I always say I'm going to provide a link, but to be honest, he retired. He's no longer in the rap game. So that clip,
no way.
Dude, I mean, we're in our late 30s, dude. Like, we're not rapping. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, I think I have it up. Oh, shit. Okay, share this tab instead.
President Trump in the White House. He called me a lot. And this is after January 6th. So it's 2 weeks before, or a week before he's leaving office. He wanted to run past me the names of people he was going to pardon and sentences he was going to commute. He wanted my opinion on them. Some of them I knew. I said, how you doing? He said, not too well. And he went off into a tangent about what he thought happened with the election. I said, you made a promise to the public many times and to me privately that you haven't kept. What? I'll take care of it right now. I said, you promised you would release the records of the JFK assassination. He said to me, Judge, if they showed you what they showed me, you wouldn't have released it either. And I said, who's they and what did they show you? And then he said, Judge, someday when we're on the phone, and then he raised his voice, and there aren't 15 people listening to the phone call, back to a normal voice, I'll tell you.
Oh my God.
I mean, this makes it sound even worse. Who are they? Probably somebody in the intelligence community. What did they show him? JFK's brains blown out?
Did you hear Trump's take on the JFK assassination? Why he didn't release the files?
Yeah, I know what Trump's take is.
He
yes.
said that if you knew what
Spooky. That's spooky. And like the guy on the show, he was like, whoa, like it gave him chills. It gives me chills too.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it makes your imagination like go wild, right? Like, oh shit, like what is it? Is it reptilians? You know what I mean? Like it's a great way to lead.
This is an interesting comment from Skinny Bob. JFK was killed by a time traveler who wanted to prevent World War III. I've never heard that. You know, despite being a conspiracy boomer my whole life. That's interesting. It's an interesting thought, huh?
No, you're right. And it's something that you'd think you'd have heard by now of all the different theories. Huh.
Okay. Yeah, we're almost done. We should be done within 20 minutes. Cool. Let's see. Okay. What do we got next?
Hey, CNN.
Oh,
we want to.
Okay, so this was cool. Shouts out New Paradigm Institute. Shouts out Danny Sheehan, friend of the show. Despite the briefings. So on Friday or Thursday, they started this little campaign on Twitter. And this is what I'm all about. This is good grass work or grass network, whatever you want to call it. Things like we're not harassing the CNN people. Let's all just tag them and have a debate question be about UFOs, right? It makes sense. So this is the video they put out, and what was really cool is it got some mainstream media coverage right here. Here it is on Fox News. UFOs soar from taboo to presidential. Time has come to inject UAPs into the elections, Institute says. A social media campaign, #DisclosureDebate, is catching on to convince moderators of presidential debates to ask about UFOs. So here's a little video. They had a bunch of community members send in some selfie cams.
See UFO and UAP disclosure and transparency brought up in the debates. It's time. Let's get it.
CNN, I'm urging you to include UAP disclosure as a topic in the upcoming presidential debates.
I
am reaching out to express my interest in CNN, including in the upcoming presidential debate, the topic of UFOs and UAPs.
Hello, CNN. My name is Paul. I'd like them to bring up
Paul's
the
Portal
UAP discussion. Thank you.
I do think that disclosure should be a topic for this year's presidential debates.
CNN moderators and presidential candidates, we're calling on you to cover this UFO phenomena in the presidential debates.
Americans deserve to hear CNN ask our presidential candidates
Shout out
in
Nick
a
Gold.
serious fashion whether they will declassify high-level intelligence assessments regarding the possible nature and origin of unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Hi, CNN, U.S. citizen here. I would like to request that you actually include the UAP disclosure as a topic in the presidential debate this year.
I am urging CNN to include in the upcoming June 27th presidential debate a question about extraterrestrial life and the UFO phenomena.
Please include the topic of UAP disclosure in the upcoming presidential debate.
I urge CNN to include UAP disclosure as a question in the upcoming presidential debates.
CNN, I urge you to make UAP disclosure a topic in the upcoming presidential.
I think we get the gist. I think
Yeah.
a little bit early, but so pretty cool, right? I'm all
Some
about,
familiar faces in there. That's
I'm all
cool.
about these community efforts. You know, people like to act like we're haters of disclosure. It's like, no, I love it.
No, this one was actually kind of cool. And I got to say, Sheehan rocking all white, white on white on white on white, dude. I love it. He's in his Raelian phase right now. I'm into it.
Nice. So I thought it'd be kind of interesting. We got some times where presidential debates brought up UFOs previously. What do we got here first?
Shirley
Oh, yeah.
McClain.
So this is the 2008 debate. Kind of. This is when the one that would have resulted Barack Obama's first term. Yeah.
Writes in her new book that you cited a UFO over her home in Washington State, that you found the encounter extremely moving, that it was a triangular craft, silent and hovering, that if you felt a connection to your heart and heard directions in your mind. Now, did you see a UFO?
Pause before we get to his answer. Interesting, right? Like hella, like more so than just saw it. It's like a whole ass CE5 emotional thing, right? And the crowd already can't help themselves.
They can't. It's a different world now, I'll tell you that. Like, but I didn't catch all those things before, that he had like a telepathic connection to this craft. Holy shit.
Right.
I did, and the rest of the account. Oh, I didn't. It was unidentified flying object. Okay, it's like it's unidentified. I saw something. Now, to answer your question.
Yeah, I tried to run past it real quick, but people were saying that this was one of the reasons that like he actually had to drop out. Apparently, he took a big hit after this.
Well, that's why they posed the question, to embarrass him. And it worked. It got everybody laughing at him. That's a terrible thing. If disclosure happens recently, this clip is going to be looked back on in shame.
Oh, let me show you. Oh, shoot. Okay, you kind of. Oh, no, we have time. Let me see. Riff really quick. I want to see if I can find it real quick.
It's embarrassing that they asked him this question knowing that he would get laughed at, knowing that it would affect his credibility. And it's a question that we talk about every day in UFO spaces. If he came into UFO spaces right now or released a statement right now, everyone would quote him. Every paper, News Nation would interview him. You know what I mean? It's just like it was weaponized. And this should be noted. This is how recently this topic was weaponized against people's credibility.
2008. And here's the thing I wanted to find. This is from my 2 or 3 videos ago, but it's the compilation of just different people laughing at the question or the thought of UFOs. I think it's super powerful. But of course,
You seem quite reserved tonight.
I've been studying UFOs. Did you know there are UFOs out here flying around unidentified?
This would be the place for them, Southern California.
I'm serious. They sighted a bunch over Georgia. I've seen them at night. They have real photos of them, and the government and the people just completely seem like don't talk about it. But Mr. Harold Salkin of Washington, D.C., is the head of the National UFO Bureau.
Right.
He brought me moving films. I actually have moving pictures of those saucers.
A protest of people, by people, who want more information about UFOs. This is Operation Right to Know. When I first saw this, I thought it was another gay rights march in D.C., and then I looked closer and found out that it could have been
The godmother of your daughter, Shirley MacLaine, writes in her new book that you sighted a UFO over her home in Washington State. Did you see a UFO?
I did, and the rest of the account. Oh, I didn't. It was unidentified flying object.
Pilots, investigators, scientists, and researchers from 7 different countries gathered in Washington to discuss their shared experiences about UFOs.
This is amazing. And you know what? I can't help but laugh about this because when you think of people saying, "Oh, hey, I saw a UFO," you kind of think of freaks. I'm not going to lie.
Numerous senior pilots from the Navy have been reporting significant UFO activity.
You take questions on UFOs, Admiral?
There's a reporting process for that and an office that handles that.
President Obama says that there is footage and records of objects in the skies, these unidentified aerial phenomenon. And he says we don't know exactly what they are. What do you think that it is?
I would ask him again. Thank you.
Damn.
President Biden's telling you to go watch his first appearance on Jimmy Kimmel where he says they control us.
Yeah. You refer back to they exercise strict control of human beings.
But isn't it wild, right? And I like playing that clip a lot. I mean, I've never played on the show, but I like thinking about it a lot because it just goes to show the power, right? You know, a lot of those people laughing had never really looked into the subject, right? And it's fair to look into it and be like, you know what, this is dumb. But it just goes to show like the level of conditioning as a society we've been in. We're like throughout all these different decades, just the word UFO causes people to just have like almost instinctive, what's the word? Like they didn't even choose to, but they're laughing, right? Before they even realize or know why they're laughing, you know, isn't it interesting?
Yep.
Here's when it came up at the
Do
Republican
you believe
debate.
that the recent spike in UFO encounters?
I get the UFO question?
Yeah, you do.
Come on,
There
man.
you go.
That's what Tupa's saying. He knows what that means. It's like, oh, you motherfuckers are trying to kick me out this early, huh? Was giving me the UFO question for sure.
But okay, we've been hearing a lot of we've been hearing a lot of testimony in Congress, and people are taking this a lot more seriously. And we're hearing that, there are things going on that people aren't aware of. So if you were president, Governor Christie, would you level with the American people about what the government knows about these possible
Martha,
encounters?
and especially coming from a woman from New Jersey, I think it's horrible that just because I'm from New Jersey, you asked me about unidentified flying objects and Martians. We're different, but we're not that different. Look, of course, the job of the President of the United States is to level with the American people about everything. The job of the President of the United States is to stand for truth. The job of the President of the United States is to be a role model for our children and our grandchildren. And so whether it was UFOs or this problem of education, and Tim's right, by the way, and I started this in 2010 by going right after the teachers' unions in New Jersey. And
Semi-beautiful pivot there, I guess, but really kind of weird story, and that was 2023.
That was an excellent pivot. That was excellent. He didn't win it, but that was good.
What do you think? My gut tells me that the effort might not work, because I do know that these questions are super, super curated. And like, I just remember last election, a lot of the questions, some questions were cut that would have made certain people look good and certain people look bad. You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see.
I think that the format of the presidential debates has gone full American Idol, and I think this might be one of the last ones we see in this old format. I think that everyone's going to demand long-form conversations.
They want a Rogan.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that's the way the culture's been going, and for the big media to ignore it, it's going to leave them just dumb, and it's going to leave them looking dumb. And
Not to get too political, but like, can our current president? I'm just curious to see how it's going to go, because the debate is in 10 days. I think it's the 27th. So we'll see what happens. But I don't even think our current president can talk, What, dude? That thing they said today. Should we just play the clip? Because that was actually kind of wild.
Bro, are you talking about when the press secretary said that it was a deep fake?
Yeah, I guess we don't have to play the clip.
Oh my God, guys! Our friends over at Alien Addict, they made a great point. To that video, they quoted 1984 that said, like, they will literally start showing us lies. They will tell us that up is down, down is up, and we'll just accept it. And that's what's happening. They are straight up lying to us into our face. And this isn't about being political. This is strictly a criticism about the media and the way in which Americans digest information. Just because someone's at the podium talking with the presidential seal behind them, it doesn't mean that they're telling the truth. And they are actively lying to you. You're supposed to see something and then believe what you saw didn't happen. You have to believe what they said happened, even though your eyes are betraying what they're saying. And it's become 1984, like it's crazy. Yeah, watch this. This is bananas to me.
Just watch it real quick. We're almost done with this slide.
There seems to be a sort of rash of videos that have been edited to make the president appear especially frail or mentally confused. I'm wondering if the White House is especially worried about the fact that this appears to be a pattern that we're seeing more often.
Yeah, and I think you all have called this the cheap fakes video, and that's exactly what they are. They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith, and some of your news organization have been very clear, have stressed that.
She's going straight to hell.
She just made up a new word.
Yeah, cheap fakes. That's what you guys are calling them. It's a cheap fake. Now listen here, ma'am. You're lying. And these kind of lies are like really egregious. These are the people we're supposed to accept disclosure from. Nope, not ever going to happen.
This is honestly one of the craziest official government lies in a minute.
Yes. That the videos we've been seeing released by citizens and their cell phone showing time and time again our president kind of just being a little too old for the job. Now we're supposed to believe Yeah, we're not supposed to believe what we're seeing. We're supposed to believe how she's explaining it. Guys, we,
But to it, those are cheap fakes.
Oh yeah, you're right. Just like Cloud saying, "Oh, the audio's all AI." These guys, man, these guys. This is egregious, though. This is egregious to think that we were going to believe that this old man who's been stumbling through ice cream shops is the strong, leader. It's like, dude, this is crazy.
Oh, cheap fake was she's telling you that Biden's a reptilian. She's talking about him. No, I'm just kidding. It's it just kind of goes to show too, right? This is so egregious, so in your face, but it's like that they're doing like this isn't the only thing they're lying to you about, but it just kind of it's almost like what you say about the disclosure people. Like it just shows you like how they view you. They think you're they think you're dumb enough to be like those are all cheap fakes. And actually, what are we supposed to do? Biden's just super healthy, right? Come on, guys.
Yeah, he's actually just 45. He's never been smarter. He's never been more. You know what I mean? He's sharp as a razor blade. Like, yeah, right, bro. Yeah, right. Shout out to Eric. Eric called in. Eric single-handedly allowed us to consider call-in shows by being so great. So shout out to Eric. Good to see you, man.
Shout out to Eric.
Rigged election? Hell yeah. Little Pop-Tart. Something's rigged here. Something's rigged here.
Gaslighting is wild, says Nimbit.
Yeah, yeah. She looks like a clone. Okay. Oh, Russell Crowe. This blew me away, man.
So we're ending with this, and we're going to do a whole episode about it, I think either tomorrow or the next day. But yeah, this was wild. Russell Crowe is definitely a UFO nerd, and not just any UFO nerd. Let's listen to what he says first, because, yeah, I was with YouTube. I was kind of shocked when this happened.
Well, currently, I'm reading a lot of stuff that says, full contact in 2027. And there's all these people that used to work for NASA or all these other organizations out there talking about how our history as a species is really simply a series of genetic experiments to get us to where we are now. When you look around, there's a lot of proof that says that might actually be a thing. Anyway, that's what I'm...
Anyway. All right, Russell. I could tell Russell been like hitting the bong and eating Doritos and like watching the show, being like, "Holy shit, this is crazy."
Oh, for sure. I'm gonna play it again just till we get to the. Or I could pause it with the.
I'm reading a lot of stuff that says full contact in 2027. And there's all these people that used to work
full
for
contact.
NASA or all these other organizations out there.
Okay.
Whoa.
So what comes to your mind when you hear this 2027 date?
Bledsoe.
Right, 100%. And I was even saying, dude, Russell Crowe might have been in that Logan space that just happened with Bledsoe, or at the very least, maybe heard a recap for maybe us or Vetted or, because the Danny Jones episode was in like November, so maybe he just came across that too. But this 2027 stuff, this isn't just like tier 1 ufology, right? This is like I say like tier 3, and I'm not even saying that as like it's a true thing. I'm just saying like how deep into the field are you, like. There's people who are like, I saw a flying saucer, but I don't know what Roswell is. And there's people like Russell Crowe who are like, I know about 2027 and NASA and has to be the Bledsoes. We've heard, and as I said, I've been collecting stuff for an episode about this. And again, I'm not saying that by any means.
You know what I think?
Change your life around 2027, but there's a lot of people who say this weird timeline date. What's up?
Well, first of all, I think you're totally right. The date 2027, I didn't hear about until I was like in layers into ufology from the surface downward, right? I think that maybe Russell Crowe was optioned to play a role in that movie that was supposed to come out about the Bledsoes. Because how else would he know about this shit, dude? He's a Hollywood guy. You know what I mean? Like, script could have been moving around. He could have came across it. He could have been selected. Maybe he was Bledsoe's pick to play himself. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That might be a far stretch, but I'm gonna look into that.
I think anybody who's interested in the American disclosure stuff, right, eventually will come across Bledsoe. Not saying they have to believe it, but I think he is like extra shielded, right, compared to other experiencers.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, so we're gonna do that probably tomorrow.
Hell yes.
Maybe the next day, but figured it'd be good to have like a one-stop shop. Because dude, did you know Greer said some stuff about this date too?
Oh, I'm sure he did. Greer is very well informed.
Yep. All right, well, is that? I don't even know what this last slide is. I'm kind of scared. Let me stop sharing just to be safe.
Yeah, it could literally be anything.
Yeah, no, we'll just leave it there.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah,
well,
cool
that was awesome. That was awesome, man. Like, guys, if you tell us what you prefer. Do you guys like Friday recaps, Monday recaps? We're super flexible, but that was very well put together. And it's just good because I mean it was a long weekend. So I'm glad you guys were all here for this. and got to see this recap, dude. If there's anything we didn't cover that you want to see, hit us in the DMs, right? Find us on Twitter. We're usually in Spaces. I want to say thank you to all the members out there continuing to support the show and support what we're doing here. We love you. We can't do it without you guys. Thank you to the super chats. Thank you guys, for real. We got Courage First. Hell yeah, Courage First with the $10 dono, man. Way to start the show off. Alana and Darth McButtfart have renewed their memberships for 2 months. Hell yes. And then Alana hit us with another $10 dono. That is
Bless
amazing.
you, Alana.
A great question or point from the comment section with a $5 dono. Trump is definitely gatekeeping. Yeah, man. Absolutely. And we have a Trump episode. You guys need to check that out if you guys are interested.
Also, the UFO Late Group did a Trump episode today, too. So go show them love. Show everyone love.
Oh, shit. Yeah, guys, go check out UFO Late Group. Friend of the show. That is awesome. That is awesome. We need more voices in here. We support everybody's show. If you're out there and you're doing one too, let us know. We'll check you guys out.
Shouts out to the chat, Trester Material, John Doe Crypto, Crystal, Arden, a bunch of y'all in here. Lil Pop Tart.
Yeah.
A bunch of y'all in here. Derek. Logical UAP. Oh, also Logical UAP. I don't know if you saw this real quick. Sorry, last thing. It was when I played that clip. He was like, we need to compile a clip of all the times people laughing, and like I had just pulled it up. It's pretty cool.
Oh, hell yeah.
I guess it's too far back and you have to go.
No, but we should get some of these like very popular clips out just so our audience can call back on them. I think a lot of people like to use it if they're at the water cooler hanging out with their friends. They can go to Skyfire News, find a clip, play it out, and let someone see like, you know, what's going on, and even maybe in their Twitter account or something. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. Thanks for everybody watching over on X. Thanks for all the subscribers over here on YouTube. Again, we could not do this without you guys. We're gonna play you out with a song. Red, great effing show, man.
Peace out,
Great
guys. Have a good one. See you guys tomorrow. Hell yeah. Woo.
Peace.
Got a plane ticket and you know it's first class. I heard someone talking that shit and I have to regulate. I need y'all dumb and easy to manipulate. When it comes to ufology, you know I caught the schism. Attack a housewife and then on to the next victim. I know you might be shocked, but that's just the way I am. Started so many UAP. Come to me's, I forget where you lay. I need y'all dumb. Easy to manipulate. When it comes to ufology, you know I call the schism. Attack a housewife, and then up to the next victim. I know you might be shocked, but that's just the way I am.
This is Skyfire News, the best UFO show on the internet. Skyfire News is on the internet. Skyfire News. Skyfire News. UFO show on the internet. Skyfire News is on the internet. Come look for it on TV, man.